You know that feeling, right? You're in a meeting and one great idea after another just seems to hit a wall. The energy in the room just fizzles out. Well, today we're going to dig into how changing just one single word in a phrase we all use can completely transform those difficult, high-stakes conversations.
Just picture it for a second. You're in a meeting, maybe it's a brainstorm, maybe it's a kind of tense project update. Somebody throws out a new idea, and then you hear it. That classic response, yes, but. And you can literally feel the air change in the room. This quote, the energy tightens, curiosity drains out. It just nails that moment perfectly. It's like an open door of possibility just got slammed shut. And I'm willing to bet we've all been there.
And that feeling, it's not just, a little awkward. It has real, tangible consequences. That shift in energy, that sudden lack of curiosity, it all comes at a cost. So what is the real price we pay for using this seemingly harmless little phrase? That's exactly what we're going to get into.
Let's just call yes but what it really is most of the time, a total conversation killer. I mean, it sounds polite, right? It sounds like you're agreeing, but what it's actually doing is subtly shooting down what was just said and pulling the conversation right back to your own point. It's a black. It's not a bridge.
Okay, so what's the alternative? Well, it actually comes from a pretty unlikely place. Improv comedy. The absolute core principle of improv is yes and. See, in an improv scene, you can't just reject what your partner gives you. You have to accept it, that's the yes, and then you have to build on it, that's the and. And this one simple rule forces you to listen, to really listen, and adapt on the fly. And those skills, they're just as valuable in a boardroom as they are up on a stage.
All right, let's really put these two phrases head to head. I want to look at the difference in how they function and the impact they have. Because this isn't just a tiny change in words, it's a totally fundamental shift in your entire mindset. This really breaks it down, doesn't it? Look at the left side. Yes, but. It blocks, it defends, it's all about control. It basically says, yeah, I hear you, but my point is way more important. Now look at the right. Yes, and. This one builds, it accepts, it stays open. It says, I hear what you're saying, and that makes me think. See the difference? It engages with the moment instead of just rejecting it. Now, there's a really common misconception here. A lot of people think yes and means you have to agree with every single idea, even the bad ones. No way. That is not it at all. The key thing to get is that yes and is about acknowledging the other person's reality before you add your own. It's the difference between saying, yes, I hear your concern, and we also need to think about this other factor. It's all about disciplined, inclusive communication, not just weak agreement. So if yes and is so much better, so much more productive, why do we all default to yes but, especially when things get tense? Why does it feel so much safer?
Well, the simple answer is we're trying to protect ourselves. When a conversation gets difficult, we're not trying to build some hilarious comedy scene, right? We're trying to defend our expertise, our authority, our sense of certainty. Yes, but feels like putting up a shield. It lets us grab control of the conversation and steer it right back to where we feel comfortable.
And get this, there's even a neurological reason for this reflex. When our brain senses a threat, and a challenge to our idea totally counts as a threat, it can kick off a defensive response. That response actually pulls resources away from our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain we need for flexible, thoughtful, creative thinking. So, right at the moment when we need to be our most open, our brain takes a shortcut to protect itself. And that shortcut is often yes, but.
Okay, let's zoom out and look at the cumulative effect here. Because the cost of yes, but isn't just about one awkward moment in one meeting. When this becomes a habit, when it becomes part of the culture, it can do real, long-term damage to an entire team or even a whole organization. I mean, think about these phrases. I bet you've heard them, maybe even said them. Yes, but you have to understand the business realities. Or the classic, yes, but that's not how we've always done it. On the surface, they sound reasonable, right? But they're actually dismissals. They send this crystal clear signal that whatever the other person just said has been downgraded and pushed to the side. And this is the ultimate cost. When people feel like they're constantly being managed, corrected, or dismissed, they don't just stop talking in meetings. They stop contributing. They stop bringing their best ideas to the table. They stop giving that extra effort. That silence you get in the room, that's not agreement. It's disengagement.
And the research totally backs this up. The American Psychological Association has shown that when you build the opposite of a yes-but culture, what they call an environment of psychological safety, the benefits are just huge. Creativity skyrockets, innovation takes off, engagement goes through the roof. It's simple. When people feel like their voice actually matters, the entire organization just gets better.
Okay, so it's easy to sit here and admire the idea of yes and, right? But actually practicing it, especially when you feel challenged, that's the real work. So let's reframe this. This isn't some new strict rule you have to follow forever. Think of it more like a simple, one-time experiment. So here's the challenge for you. The very next time you're in a tense conversation and you feel that yes but about to come out, just pause. Step 1, just notice it. That's it. Step 2, ask yourself a really important question. What am I trying to protect right now? Is it my ego, my expertise, my need to be right? Then, for step 3, just once, try replacing it with yes and. And finally, step 4, just watch. Observe what happens to the energy in that conversation.
So let's end with this one final thought. I want you to think back to your last really difficult conversation. You know the one where you reach for that yes but shield. What were you really protecting in that moment? Because answering that question honestly, that's the very first step to having a much, much better conversation next time.